What's going on, peeps? Well, today I'm going to talk about a subject that a lot of people tend to stray away from: religion and the hypocrisy of religion. Now, I'm not a big religion person. I don't go to church. I don't read the Bible, but I do believe in God or a higher power. When it comes to the Bible, I believe that the Bible is more of a motivation type book. You can read it and you can get motivation from it, and you can pretty much live by the Bible and guide your life by the Bible, and you can do great things. So to me, it's just a motivation book. The church, on the other hand, is a house of sin. I believe there more sin goes on inside the church than outside the church. So that's the main reason why I don't really go to church. I don't have any notion to set foot in a church. But I want to talk about hypocrisy of the Republican Party when it comes to the Bible, when it comes to Jesus and God. Republicans are the biggest hypocrites when it comes to religion. You take Mike Johnson, you take Marjorie Taylor Greene, you take Donald Trump. They all proclaim to be Christians and they love Jesus, they love God, but they do the opposite of what Jesus would ask of them. And that shows me they can't love Jesus. They can't love God, because if they did, they would be following in God's and Jesus' footsteps, in which they're not. So, as I was listening to this content creator this morning, he brought up Matthew 25, verse 31, and the sheep and the goats. And it made a lot of sense. Like I said, I never read that before. Like I said, I don't read the Bible, so I never read that before. But when he read it, it made a lot of sense. Because when you put it in today's events, what's going on at the border, them locking up innocent people, them deporting, separating families, closing the border and not allowing anyone to come in at all. People who really in need, who want to change their life for the better, who's looking to do things to improve their family situations. And you just realize what they're doing at the border. It goes against God's will. It goes against Jesus' teachings. So how can you say you're a Christian when you're actually doing the opposite of what Jesus wants you to do? So I'm going to read you the verses just to show you what I mean about they're not following the teachings of Jesus Christ. But they are Christians, though. So, the sheep and the goats. Verse 31 under Matthew 25. When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, he will sit on the glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he would separate the people one from another as a shepherd separates sheep and goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king would say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance. The kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you come to visit me." Now, that sounds just like what's going on in this country today. Like I said, I mentioned the border. The border is closed to needy families, needy people who are looking to improve their lives. Look at this big, beautiful bill. They're taking Medicaid away from people, which is for the sick. They're taking SNAP away from people, which is for people who is hungry. See, these are the things that Jesus wanted you to do as a Christian. Feed the hungry. Take care of the sick. Open your doors to people who need, who want to improve their lives. That's what Jesus wants you to do. But what are Republicans doing? These so-called Christians, they're doing the opposite. So, let me read the next verse 37. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and fed you, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Now, that right there is powerful to me. Let me read that again. When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Do you see any of that in the Republican Party? Any one of those people, are they thinking about that last verse 40? When the king is telling them, you treat others the way you would treat me. If you'll feed me, feed them. That's what he's saying. And that's not happening. So how can you tell me you're a Christian when you're treating people differently than you would treat Jesus? You have people locked up in El Salvador who haven't even committed a crime, but you locked them up. Would you have locked Jesus up for no reason? I doubt it. You have your borders closed to visitors. Would you close your borders to Jesus? I doubt it. You have the homelessness living on the streets, needing food and nourishment. Would you allow Jesus to live on the street and starve? I doubt it. See, these are the things that tells me that these Republican Christians are nothing but hypocrites. They don't believe in what Jesus believed in. Just understand that. The United States of hypocrisy. They tell the world that we're a Christian nation. We have I trust in God written on our money, but we do the opposite of what Jesus would do. I just want to put that out there. We need to do better. If you say you're a Christian, live that way.